Back to Cablevision's Neighborhood Journal. The phrases climate change, global warming, and greenhouse gases are heard and seen on a daily basis in the media these days. What scientists have been suggesting for years is now becoming a generally accepted truth, that we are affecting the Earth's climate through our behavior.
More specifically, it is the release of CO2, or carbon dioxide, into the air when we burn fossil fuels such as oil and gas that is producing these harmful effects. One possible solution is to develop alternative fuels, sources of power that do not add to global warming. Fuel Bio is a small company trying to take these first pioneering steps, and they're doing it right here in Elizabeth.
The scary part of it is that it is the pioneers that receive all the arrows. But somebody has to make the step.
Marty Baruso is part engineer, part chemist, and part visionary. At his site down by the Goethals Bridge, he can pump out over 1 million gallons of biodiesel a week, a honey-colored fuel that has the same properties as regular diesel, but the benefit of significantly reducing greenhouse gases and other pollutants. But he really doesn't play up the idea that he's some sort of environmental savior. He still has to run a business.
I'm actually a pragmatist. We got involved in biodiesel and alternative fuels because we were in the power generation business, and we really wanted another option on powering our equipment. And we chose this because it's environmentally beneficial and it's outside of the petroleum industry.
If Marty has the practical vision, then his son John, who is the company's government affairs liaison, has more of the global view.
Well, what we're trying to do is create a sustainable environment for renewable fuels here in the United States of America. We believe that it really presents us with a tremendous amount of opportunity to bring to an urban area, to America, a new sense of ownership in our own environment and our ownership in our own economy.
That ownership comes from someday being independent from our tremendous dependence on petroleum. So is biodiesel the answer?
There's going to be a change eventually from a petroleum world. What is that change? I couldn't tell you that. I can tell you that biofuels and alternative fuels are going to be part of that change, just as solar will be part of that change, just as wind energy will be part of that change. We've actually reviewed several other business plans from other creative people out there, and there's some really interesting things on the horizon. Whether economic or not, that remains to be seen, but these are the kind of developments that we need to see.
Although Marty designed the plant, it is his longtime associate Sonny Harninen who runs it on a day-to-day basis. And though he's dealing with some very dangerous substances, he zips around the facility like a kid playing with a chemistry set.
This is where we store our feedstock. This pump here sucks the feedstock out of this tank. This next pump sucks my methanol out. We normally don't keep the methanol close on site here. We keep it at the other end of the yard because of the flammability and the danger. And we have the catalyst pump here sucking out the catalyst all the way from that white tank over there. So once the pumps suck each and every one separately, it merged together into the AccuLoad system. That's when it starts reacting and becoming biodiesel.
Okay, so here's the issue. Biofuels made from soybeans can't be the only solution to our energy needs because the plants only produce about 50 gallons of oil per acre per year. So there isn't enough farmland to sustain the amount of fuel we consume. So that's why the Barusos are looking even further into the future. And to get a glimpse of this vision, we had to do a little traveling. We're here in a greenhouse in the lower Hudson Valley of a small organic farm that's testing what could possibly be the future of alternative fuels. Instead of growing soybeans for feedstock, they're growing algae. Kevin Ferry runs the greenhouse at Cabbage Hill Farm.
Working with biodiesel, your net contribution of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere is reduced. But how can you reduce it further? Here at this farm, all of our goals are environmentally minded. Working with the algae continues that. How can you really have a zero carbon footprint?
Well, here's how it might work. You take the CO2 emissions that come off the smokestack of any generator or giant electrical plant, and you run it up acrylic tubes so that the algae can grow using a combination of the CO2 and sunlight. That same algae can then be used as feedstock to make more biodiesel. Here at the farm, it's very small, but the hope is to scale it so that someday large electric plants can have algae systems which capture all the harmful materials and then use them to make the fuel needed to run the plant.
This technique offers a lot of potential for sucking up the carbon to prevent it from going into the atmosphere, preventing global warming, but also in turn, by preventing the global warming, it's actually giving us back the fuel. You no longer are layering our atmosphere with this, double bonded dense molecule, which, is a greenhouse gas. You're not going to even let it go up there. You're going to soak it up like a sponge with algae and then put it right back to work.
So, of course, this technique is only in the testing phase, although the idea, according to Kevin Ferry, has been around for more than 50 years.